of introducing Ms. Nagam. So I'm going to read off my script because I'm a millennial. I use my cell phone for everything. Bear with me here. Nagam is on a mission to help burned out leaders stop surviving and start leading like they actually mean it. Because let's be honest, most managers aren't lacking skills, right? They're exhausted, overwhelmed, running on fumes, and no amount of another leadership framework is going to fix that. That's where Nagam comes in. As the founder of
IMCAN.
Close. Leadership development, she equips leaders with practical, no-nonsense resilience tools that help them stay steady under pressure, make sharp decisions when it matters most, and finally switch off at the end of the day without guilt. That's what we need, right? Her approach isn't theoretical. It's lived, you guys. It's lived. From refugee to educator, school principal, and now Maxwell certified speaker, coach, and disc consultant, Nagam knows what it takes to navigate high-pressure environments without losing yourself within that process. Through her signature TYRM framework, she teaches leaders to build the resilience muscle first, because without it, even the best leadership tools fall apart the moment things get hard, the moment things hit the fan, guys. An HR Unite Inspire Award recipient and a sought-after speaker at events like the Women of Color Conference, Nagam doesn't just talk about resilience. She challenges leaders to raise their standards, reclaim their energy, and become the kind of leaders who don't break under pressure. They rise through it. Let's give it up for Nagam.
Thank you. All right. I usually start every session with a story, and last night I was sitting with my husband and I was going in my repertoire of things I've been through, and something on the news, and we all know everything that's going on in the news, reminded me of a very particular story. And I retold it to him, and to him it sounded, God bless his heart, sounds like he's never heard the story before, even though it's been like, this is what I say every time. But, and my daughter's in the room right here, and I don't know if you've heard this story before, but I was reminded of a time in my life. I was born in Iraq, and in the 1990s, there was this rebellion against Saddam when people just had enough and decided to, go up against them. And this time of between us leaving our home, deciding that we've had enough, we're gonna flee, and 2 of my brothers went out to fight. 3 of them did. 1 of them came back injured, so that's why I say 2. And my father had said, okay, we need to find safety because it's not safe anymore for us in our home. So we decided to leave. But between the time we left and the time we got to a safer location, a lot has happened. Now, I was an 8-year-old. I don't remember exactly how much time had passed. To me, might have been days. It could have been years. Who knows? But one thing that I was remembering last night was a place we stayed at while we were running away. Every time we came across a state in Iraq, we're like, okay, it's safe. Let's just stay there for a little bit, see how it goes, and then move on. One place we stayed at was and I don't know if it was a school or it was just an open place where kids play soccer or whatnot, but there was a small room. I think the keeper stayed there, or the coach or something. I mean, you could, this is an 8-year-old memory, right? It's really vague, but what I remember from this is we stayed in this tiny room. There was 7 of us. The room is it's like this big, and all of a sudden I see shelves going up. I kid you not. It was like not 2 minutes passed by and shelves are going up. Furniture, where did this stuff come from? And it's my sisters, 2 of my sisters who were with us. And they're very great at this, very creative. And they just want this feeling of feeling stable and settled. And it doesn't matter where we stayed. Now, mind you, about 45 minutes passed by and we hear the bombings again and the shooting, and so we had to pack up again and leave, and we ended up staying in a hotel. We found it was getting dark. We stayed in a hotel. We thought this was going to be safe. It was several stories high. We stayed at the very floor. My brother and my father went out searching for family, friends they knew, and so we stayed. It was dark. We didn't know where my brother and father was, and it was one of those things where you just sat there with all the other families that were just gathered. They just, found shelter in this place, and we just prayed, and it smelled bad because it was just, people just getting there. It was too crowded. Wake up in the morning. We're praying the whole time for our safety and my father and brother's safety. They finally made it home to the hotel we were at. And we look up, and there's this guy. This several stories hotel that we were in. Actually, it's one of those embassy hotels, kind of, have you ever been to the embassy hotel? Where it has the rooms are all around the building, and there was a skyline, you could see it right in the middle. It was kind of like that. And we were like, oh, let's just stay there, because it's gonna, even if a bomb drops, we're gonna be safe. Little did we know that God wanted us to be saved anyway. We stayed there. And we were safe in the morning. And of course, we picked up, went to another place, and another place, and another place. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been my life. After going from place to place to place, we found a makeshift camp. The U.S. Army found us and took us to a makeshift camp where we stayed for a little bit. And then after that, to right in the middle of the desert of Saudi Arabia, where we stayed in a refugee camp for 4 years. Of course, it was safer. There were no bombings. But of course, it has its own perils of no running water, no power. And I had to grow up there. And this entire time that I've lived through this, it was lessons of resilience for me. I didn't have the word for it back then. I didn't know what it was. But it was lessons of resilience, everything I have been through. Coming to the United States, I came here as a refugee. I had one goal in mind. I wanted to become a teacher. I was actually decided on that when I was 13 years old, because I've been to school in Iraq, I've been to school in Saudi Arabia, and I've been, coming here to the United States, I've been here, and I've had good teachers, but mostly what really affected me are the ones that are not so good, and we've all had those in our life that just, they stick with you. You remember the not lessons that you learn from them. And my goal was, I wanted to become a teacher because I wanted to show a different version. I wanted to show the version to students that actually cared about them, that actually inspired them, that actually took their vision and drove them somewhere forward and not humiliated them like one of my teachers did to me. Those things stick with you. For me, it was a push forward. For me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna show you how to be a better teacher. And so I did. I came here, went to high school, had to learn the English language, the culture. I was asked so many questions. What am I wearing? What's on my head? What language do I speak? Why am I not communicating? Why am I shy? Why are you reading so many books if you don't read English? And I had to teach myself the English language real quickly because I was in a rush. I lived through violence. I lived through 4 years of desert camp, dry, heat, sandstorms. I was in a rush to get out. That urgency mode stayed with me. It became part of who I am. How many of you have gone through something in your life where you had this urgency to rush out to get out, that even after you left, you still felt rushed? Still felt things are urgent? How many of you wake up in the morning, and I think Brenda asked that question, you go to your email. I still do that sometimes, and I remember, no, don't need that. I don't need that. That's not me anymore, right? We go to emails, we do this because we feel like this is what we need to do. This is the urgent. Nothing in life is urgent. Not unless you are really, truly fighting for your life. I'm telling you. And I've been there several times, in fact, in my life. More than I'd like to count, right? I don't regret anything, though. I do not regret anything. But this is where resilience comes in. And we go through our life, and some of you here, how many of you actually run or walk or train? Awesome. So you train your muscles, your physical muscles. Now, what do we do to train our minds? We have a lot of different muscles in our body. Some of them we don't even realize they exist, and resilience is one of them. Resilience is a muscle that you can actually train. And this is what we're going to be doing today. Within the next, I don't know how long we've got today, I'm going to help you think and respond like a resilience master. Now, resilience masters aren't people who have mastered resilience. Good news, it's those people who know they've got it, they're working on it, it's work in progress. I'm a resilience master, and it's so great to meet you here today. Before we get started, this is what I'd like to do for you to do. Now, bear with me. I just want real quickly. I am fasting today. I can't drink water, so my mouth is going to be dry once in a while, and I need to take breaks. And I should take breaks because I'm a resilience master, right? All right. So this is what I'd like you to start with. You have a compact mirror in front of you. You should, at least. If I didn't have enough for you, maybe you can share with somebody. What I want you to do with the mirror is this. I want you to open it and hold it in front of you like you're looking at yourself right in front of you, okay? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? I want you to hold it right in front of you. All right, now I want you to stay holding that mirror, okay? And I'm gonna count down, but I want you to actually, I'm gonna stand right here so everyone in the room, hopefully, I don't know if the people in the back can see me, but pretend you can, I'm right here. I want you to hold the mirror like you're looking at yourself, but I want your eyes to be at me. Ready? Do that right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you may close your mirror. Okay, what did you see? Raise your hand. What did you see? What did you see?
A beautiful woman looking back.
All right. What did you see in the mirror? Did you see other people in the room? Did you see me? Yes. Did you, in your peripheral visions, were you able to see other people sitting around you? Did you see the tables, the stuff that are on tables, the TV, whatever's in the room? Some of it. This is why I wanted you to do this. We spend our life pretending that we're looking in the mirror, looking at ourselves, knowing in ourselves. But in reality, we're busy looking at everyone else we're talking to, people around us in our environment, the things that we have, the stuff we have to do, the emails, the tasks, the this, the that. But there is a very blurry image of ourselves in that mirror. It's still there. Maybe we took a glance at it while I was telling you not to look at yourself, and you saw a beautiful woman. Good for you. Good for you for looking at yourself. I want you to look at yourself. It's not so hard when you're so beautiful, right? And I want you to look at yourself, and I'm looking for my clicker. All right. So the reason why we do this is because resilience actually starts with the foundation of self-awareness. I want you to do this. I want you to scan this QR code, and I want you to leave me one word. What does pressure feel like in your body right now? Just one word. I want you to actually feel it. What is it feeling right now? In your jaw. Tight, teeth, tension, debilitating, heavy. Yes. Weight. Calm. Ooh. Where is that calm person? I gotta find you. Exhausting. Yes. Overwhelming. And the larger words, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the larger words are the ones that come up the most. Now, here's what's happening. As you're answering, some of you are going through a filter. You are answering some of you are answering based on this moment that you're feeling right now. But this moment is not by itself. It's not unfiltered. It actually comes with everything that you have to do later on. The things that are in your calendar, the people you have to deal with, talk to, right? So when you did this, you weren't just thinking of just this moment here, just sitting with me, clear-headed, right? No. It came with everything that you were thinking about. This is why it's like that. Stress, you see it? Keeps building. Tension, heavy, overwhelming, tight, and tired. Thank you for participating in that. All right, let's get into resilience. Okay, so I was actually did a leadership program with John Maxwell, and he talked a lot about resilience, and he talked about a lot leadership. And leadership, I don't know if you're familiar with the definition of John Maxwell. I just loved how he defines leadership. Influence. Influencing other people. And it's not the influencer type, going on social media and doing the dances and whatever. It's actually having influence over others, sometimes without even knowing it. Why don't you take like 2 seconds? Do you have that influence over someone? You probably don't realize it, but you do. Now, do you have this influence over yourself? Ooh. Here's the question nobody asks is, do I have influence over me? Am I leading myself? Resilience is one of those things that I hear talked about a lot, and a lot of people say you have to be born resilient. And I was so upset to hear that at first when I heard it. What? What if I'm not born resilient? You mean I can't get this wonderful quality? Now, a lot of people also define resilience as pushing through. Yes? How many of you have heard that one? Push through. What else? What else have you heard? Overcome something really hard. Yeah. What else?
Just keep going.
Just keep going no matter what. Yep.
Get over it.
Get over it. And don't stop. That's the wrong advice, right? That is the wrong advice because to me, at least, my definition of resilience is different. And I'll tell you this. Resilience, first of all, is not balance. There's no such thing as balance. It really doesn't exist, right? And then resilience is not toughness. If you think you have thick skin, awesome, good for you, but you're missing a whole lot of other stuff, right? It's not just those things. It's missing stuff. And resilience is not a bad thing. We think that we have to have resilience. It means I have to be tough and I have to be gritty and push on. And if I don't, and I'm something missing, something's wrong with me. That's not the case. Okay, and this is what we're going to do today. Let's talk about grit and grace for a second. It's not a bad thing either, right? Grit, pushing through without shutting down, leading with conviction without losing your humanity. Now, I don't mind having grit. It's just it's also missing stuff. Like we learned those. How many of you learn those things? You gotta, you go to a leadership conference and you sit through things like such as this one, and you listen to, okay, I have to get grit. I have to be resilient. I have to be this. I have to be this. But it's missing a lot of different elements, and we end up going away with the wrong message, and we take that as the thing, and we live through it our entire life, and it turns out, I'm missing stuff. I didn't get the entire lesson. Now, grace also is a great thing. We have to have grace, but it can also make us a pushover. Yes? How many of you are graceful and helpful and are, all about service? But if you don't be careful, that's going to be your thing. That's what people are going to go to you for, and you're going to end up doing somebody else's job without even knowing, without even getting paid for it. So these things are great, but they're missing stuff. All right. So what I want you to do, and all of you should have a sheet in front of you. I want you to look, and I believe it's the first question on the sheet. Where are you leading from right now? And if it's not, just someone, yes, thank you. Where are you leading from right now? And I'm leaving this out in the open because I want you to think of it, how you're leading for you. What does that feel leading right now to you? Are you leading from a place of power? Are you leading from service? Are you leading from exhaustion? It could mean anything for you, something different for everyone. Shannon, did we run out of sheets? And unfortunately, we did. And I do not have any.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. And the reason why we stop at this question is because I want you to start building that self-awareness. once we take a minute to actually think where we are, where we're leading from, it helps us build that self-awareness. All right, I want us to play a game, and I would love for just one participant, one risk taker in this room, and I'm not gonna call you out. You heard I was a former school principal. I might just as well use my powers to do that. But I would love for somebody to come and let me explain what the game is. It's very simple. We have balls, we have cups. Land the ball in the cups. That's it. Who'd like to play? All right, come on up. Awesome. Okay, now there is there's gonna be balls all over the place, and that's okay. This is what happens when we have fun. I'm gonna put some balls in here for you.
I get all these chances?
I love this way, the way you're looking at this. Now, this is what you're gonna do, Aaron.
Okay.
You're gonna stand right back here, okay? You can hold the basket. When I say go, you're gonna go, and you're gonna try to land a ball in each one of those cups. In each one of those cups. And you're gonna be timed. You get 30 seconds.
Whoa.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Nice and soft, Aaron.
Ready?
Okay, now he could use some encouragement, people, so help him out. All right, go. Woo!
So close. Oh, you can do it. Come on, Aaron. All right.
There you go. Pop it up. Yeah, look at that.
All right, in time. Let's give Aaron a hand. Thank you for playing. And I want you to ask me a question. I know usually when we play a game, I ask a question, but I want you to ask me a question. What was missing in the game? What did you notice? Ask me a question. I want to see if you guys get this. As you saw, Aaron, I gave directions. Aaron was amazing in participating. What do you think? What's the question? Yes?
I guess it's kind of more of like an observation. You didn't say like you have to get one in the first one, then go on. So he kept trying to go in the first one, but then all the other ones didn't get any balls yet.
So missing directions?
Yeah.
Awesome. What else? And you can do observations. Yes?
Why is he doing it?
Why is he doing it? What else? What's the prize? Yeah. He played anyway. I guess it was fun. What else? How to do it. What else? What's the lesson? Ooh, now you're asking the right questions. Yes?
Also, what's his reaction being under pressure?
What is his reaction being under pressure? I think that's the winning one. Ding, 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 right there. Now, did you all notice it was not even 30 seconds? It was like 20 seconds? Yeah. Now, okay, let's answer all these questions at once. In life, we get handed opportunities. Yes? We get handed chances, right? Different doors. Yes? And we try sometimes. We try our hands at different doors. Aaron did, certainly. He was really like a go-getter. And a lot of you in here, I hope you really answer the door next time you see it or go to it or make one yourself. But here's the thing. I didn't give enough directions. I wasn't very specific. My timing was off. I didn't say there was any prize at the end. He still went for it. That's awesome. That's the right spirit. But life is kind of like that. You don't get directions. Nobody helps you. Nobody stepped up to say, Aaron, I'll help you. I'll put the balls right back in your cups. Nobody does that. Most of the time we wait for somebody to turn back and offer us a hand and say, I'll help you up. Right, Julia? No, we don't do that. We don't get that. You get put under pressure in a lot of situations in our life, more than we can count on. Now, he could have strategized, right? He was under a lot of pressure. He could have strategized and like, all right, I'm gonna just throw wherever, and wherever it lands, I win anyways. He celebrated at the end, even though he didn't win any ball. And that's the right spirit. Come on, this is what, yeah. And this is how we win back ourselves. We get handed opportunities. We get handed chances. We're under a lot of pressure. We don't get directions. But we still take it. Sometimes we're like, it's too much. I can't do this right now. Actually, most of the time. most of the time. How many of you have self-talk? Okay, you better raise your hand because I don't know who's in your head if you don't have self-talk. And you hear yourself telling yourself, now what is the percentage of positive versus negative? And you don't have to share that. And I'll tell you, negative self-talk wins all the time. It wins the conversation. It's so much more than positive self-talk. We do this all the time. We stop ourselves before we even start to do anything because we're not ready. So this is where I came up with train your resilience muscle. And train your resilience muscle is also an acronym. Each of these letters actually stand for something. And the first letter, T, stands for thoughts. Those thoughts in your head, I call these the first responders because before you do anything in life, guess what gets in the way? Your voices, your thoughts. Yes, we don't even hear the voice because it's always up here. What I want to invite you to do is actually, once in a while, when you have that self-talk, I want you to actually say it out loud. Whatever day you just said to yourself, say it out loud. And the reason is, it's going to sound different. It's going to sound like somebody said it. And it's going to be cringy when you do it. And it's good. I'm glad it's going to be cringy because once you actually hear it, you'll be like, who said that? And why? Now, the other thoughts we're supposed to have, we don't because we're really tough on ourselves. Y is for yield. In a traffic signal, you get to the yield, you don't hit the brakes all of a sudden, and you don't keep going either. What you do is you slow down, you assess. Is there any danger? No? All right, let's keep going. That's what you do when you're building resilience. The R is for recharge, and each of the sessions I've attended so far talk about this. This is really important. Let me tell you really quickly about recharge. I'm going to start right here. This is your, let's say, week. Okay, start on a Monday. You go to work. You face an obstacle, and you have to solve it. Your leadership is expecting you, so you just keep going, you work really hard, you take home work, and then you just collapse at the end of the day. You go the next day, and you do the same thing over, that you have another emergency situation at home you need to address, and then you go back to work again, and you have to do it all over again. You go home, you collapse, next day, and you wait for that darn weekend, and it's not coming fast enough. And what happens in the weekend? You collapse, and you know what you think you're doing? You think you're recharging, but you're not. Because every one of those days needs its own recharge. And we're not doing that. And finally, maintenance. We need to maintain our thoughts. We need to maintain our good habits. We need to maintain everything that we learn and everything that we do in order to build resilience. You're not going to walk out of this door today having built resilience and you're ready to go. You'll be like a fully resilient person. You're not. It doesn't work that way. It works over a period of time in smaller steps that you take, that you decide to take. All right, let's do one more Mentimeter. Now, these are the 5 pillars of resilience. And if you don't know, let's do a gut check. If you don't know where you stand on each of these, what's one, the one you're looking at is your biggest gap that you think yes, this is not your strength. This is your biggest gap. You feel like, I need help in this one. I want you to select the one. Are you all looking at look at the results? Take a look.
Can you say more about what decision integrity means here?
Decision integrity? It's when you make a decision without guilt and you know what you're doing. Okay. I came in thinking I did this last night or whenever, like 2 nights ago, when I did this, and I made a guess that I'm going to have very, very few self-awareness gaps. Look at that. Now, I didn't guess about the others. But I mean, obviously, burnout recovery. How many of you guessed burnout recovery was going to be like, woo, top, yeah. Let me tell you this. adaptability, burnout recovery, communication, decision integrity cannot be worked on until you have done self-awareness. We all have to start here. These are the 5 pillars of resilience. Adaptability, meaning we go through change in our life and we get surprised every time. How many of you are surprised every time there's a new change in your life? We're like, what? Yeah. Come on, you grew this old, like you're changing and growing. Change should not be a surprise to any of us, right? So we have to learn to adapt. Biggest change in biggest change in America in my life was COVID. And having to deal with it. I was a school principal still, and I had to hand teachers laptops and say, here, go home and teach. I'm like, I had no plan, nothing. Now the biggest challenge was actually telling them things were going to be okay. Answering questions I didn't have answers to. I didn't, luckily, because of what I went through, I didn't tell them things were going to be okay. I said, we went through tough things in our lives. We could probably use those to lean on and work from there. I knew enough not to say things were going to be okay because I didn't know. Communication is another one, and communication is not just the word that come out of our mouth. It's how we present ourselves, right? Decision integrity is one. And the 2 that we're going to focus on is burnout recovery today and self-awareness. All right. Okay. Resilience reactors, real quickly before we get into self-awareness, resilience reactors are the opposite of resilience masters. Resilience reactors, they're always managing, and these are the people, and how many of you have had people or have people still in your life who are always urgent? Things are urgent, gotta get done. We gotta get, it's due tomorrow, it's due yesterday, okay? Resilient reactors depend on that. They get the adrenaline. Okay, somebody say that for me. Thank you. I blame it on my ESL background. So they're always managing, but they're always one step behind. Now, on the other hand, you've got the resilience masters. Again, they're not people who have mastered resilience. They're just people who know what resilience is. They are on the right track, and they're ready to work on it. And they come back to themselves really quickly and fast, right? And these are the people who have also learned to be self-aware. So let's get into self-awareness. Now, on your sheet, you have self-awareness on there. And we're gonna go into it and answer one question. But first, what is self-awareness? Now, how many of you, actually, let me ask this before I do this. How many of you have taken a self-assessment tool before, a personality assessment before? All right, so my favorite is DISC. How many of you are familiar with DISC? Awesome. I'm a DISC consultant, and I do this a lot with clients, and I look through their different assessment scores and personalities, and I actually had 2 weeks ago, I led a workshop on DISC, and the question I got was, I'm a high D. How can I change from a high D personality to something else? I don't want to seem like I'm really dominant and direct. And the answer is, you don't change from that. You can work on it. You lean on it when you want to because you need the D in certain situations. You need the I in certain situations and the C's and the S's. But don't change it. It's part of you. You just need to know it. We don't take these assessments to change. I mean, unless you're a psychopath of some kind. Not judging, but what you're doing is you're learning about yourself. All right. Self-awareness, when you have it, you understand your triggers, what your patterns are, what your energy levels are. Back when I was a school principal, I was the person always urgent, always on, taking work home every evening, had no time for my family because if you've ever worked with or been or know a school principal, you know that it's just an endless unpredictability series of things that happen to you. What is it called? What is that series? Yes, series of unfortunate events. Thank you. I got tired of watching that show. I need some light at the end of the tunnel, please. But it was kind of like that. So I couldn't actually get a hold of my day. I even downloaded an app. I was trying to figure out where my day is leaking. And then I took the assessment and I found out, oh my God, now I know why. Part of my personality back then was a C, a very high C, which is highly analytical, highly overthinking. And it took me a very long time to actually make a decision. And so knowing this helped me a lot. Recognizing early signs of stress and overwhelm. This is what you do when you have self-awareness, knowing your strengths and your blind spots. Now, your blind spots are these are the things that people notice that you don't see, that you get really offended about. And most of the time, they're true. Especially if you get really, really, really offended, they're really, really, really true. I'm telling you from personal experience and from actually working with a lot of different people that I coach. Yeah, it's most of the time it's true. We haven't seen it ourselves yet. We haven't processed it yet, and this is why we feel offended. But if you take time with you and yourself and you go back to what they said, you'll find those patterns. And catching the threat response early. That's what self-awareness is. All right, so in your sheet, the first question under self-awareness says, if I can find my sheet. Thank you. I love how helpful this room is. What are your early signs that pressure is building? Do you feel it in your body? You feel it in do you get irritable? Yeah. Do you get really angry and short with people? What is it? Do you feel restless? Do your legs start hurting? What I want you to do is actually tell somebody you're sitting by. You have 30 seconds to do that. Tell somebody, what are your early signs? Go.
I get irritable, and I honestly sometimes I make fun of those things, but like I don't, like I can just feel it, but I don't actually like cry. And I think those are some early signs. What about you?
I'm very similar, but then I get mad that I want to cry because that's like, no, I'm not crying.
Oh my gosh, so relatable. Yes, and then I'm like, why am I crying? I don't know I'm crying. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I like to think I'm a little bit self-aware, but I always seem to like, as much as self-aware as I think I am.
All right, let's come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Didn't think I needed 0, people. Come on, we're not in a classroom. All right. So here's what happens. When we don't have that self-awareness built, you know what grit does to us? Yeah, we just keep pushing. We don't notice our patterns anymore. We just go like, oh, I got it, but I'm the strong person in the family. But I'm this person that everyone depends on in the office. And it always costs us our energy, costs us our livelihood, our well-being, our relationships with the closest people that we have. Right? And so this is where you need to kind of catch yourself. Let's do this. And I can't, you guys can hear me, right? Yeah. All right. Okay, so I want you to take your non-dominant hand, okay, put it up, non-dominant hand. Okay, everybody knows what, I have to check first if you know which one it is. All right, and then your dominant hand. Okay, your dominant hand is going to go up higher, okay? Your non-dominant hand is going to do this. Watch me first and then do it. You're going to start with your thumb and you're going to draw a circle on the palm of your hand, and you're going to stop at the top of the circle, and you're circle back. Trace it again. Then you're going to do it with your index finger. All right, so let's start with the thumb. Ready? All right, draw a circle. Trace it back. Okay, index finger. Trace it back. Middle finger. Trace it back. Ring finger. Trace it back. Pinky. Trace it back. All right, now let's do the same thing. Starting with the thumb. The other hand. Circle. Trace it back. Index. Trace it back. Middle. Trace it back. I think you got it. All right, one question. Which one felt better to do? Dominant or non-dominant? Easier to do, not better. Dominant. The dominant hand, right? Because it was easier. Now, what were you thinking about while I was doing this, while you guys were doing this, what were you thinking about? Why? What else? Did I do it right? What else? Which way was the circle going? Did I trace it back? Did I complete it? I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I stop at the point I started at. Okay, but you were thinking about the circle and the hands, and that's it. We took about, 30 seconds? Why we did this was, a lot of people tell you to pause when you're having a difficult time. People tell you to pause when you need a break. People tell you to pause when you're running on empty, or when you need to make a really good decision and you're like, oh, this is hard, I can't do this. Don't know what to do with the pause, because you know what happens in the pause? Your brain's still on. But now your brain was off. 30 seconds ago, your brain, all it could think about was that activity. Now, it could be anything else, tapping your fingers, doing anything else that requires thinking that will take you away from the other stuff that you have to think about. That's how you pause. That's how you pause. And it helps you kind of stay away for a little bit and then come back. Now, your productive juices and your neurons start firing up, and you come back and you're just a teeny tiny bit more recharged. Little bit more energy, a little bit more creative when you actually step away. All right, let's do the second one. Burnout recovery that everybody put up all the way on the chart. Now, I don't know how you know that you're all burnt out if you don't have self-awareness. I really what I want you to do is, after this, is go back and look at yourself. Use this sheet that I gave you to answer the questions later on and see, do you know who you are? How are your work patterns? How are your thought patterns? Okay? Do you judge people as soon as they walk into the room? Do you judge them when they don't speak? You judge yourself. And there's a lot of questions. But I want you to go back, and I want you to learn a little bit more about Sam, Julia, right? And Aaron. Don't know all your names. Nagam. All right, burnout recovery. Recognizing when your energy is depleted before it runs out. This is what we do a lot of time. And I used to be guilty of this. We measure our time. How much time did I spend on X project? How much time will I need to spend on whatever? And we forget and we neglect the most important factor, and that is our energy. Because you could have 24 hours in the day, but if you don't have the energy for it, guess what? Still not going to get done. And sometimes energy is the stuff you have to do. Sometimes it's Andrea's in the room. Forgive me, Andrea. You have a beautiful smile. But that person in your life that depletes your energy. How many of you have you don't have to share, but how many of you have that in your... All right, whoa, okay. We all have that. How about the environment? Do we have an environment that just depletes our energy? Yes, absolutely. So that's what it goes back to. This is why it goes back to self-awareness. Always goes back to self-awareness. Knowing what you're surrounding yourself with and by, okay? Understanding what drains you and what restores you. What projects, what wakes you up in the morning and you're so passionate about. I love doing my business. I don't remember how many years being an educator, and then training and coaching is the thing I absolutely love doing. I don't care how long I stay up, but I know better than not to take breaks. If I want to be really good, and if I want to serve, if I want to help, I need to take my breaks. But understand what drains you. What gives you that feeling of rushing with you? I can't wait to do this. Building recovery into your rhythm. And I say rhythm, not your calendar block, whatever, because we don't all have the same rhythm. Sometimes we have this energy pocket. Use the energy pocket when you're feeling it. We have different seasons in our life. When you're feeling, okay, I am in a giving season right now. I need to That's when you do your high focus, high energy items. And there's seasons in our life when you feel like, I just can't. I'm pushing myself through this thing and it's just not getting done. I just don't have the passion for it. Protect your capacity before exhaustion makes the decision for you. And this happens most of the time. Speaking of time, I'm good. All right. Now, this is where grace can be a negative factor if you don't watch out. This is what your grace, your act of service can burn you out if you're not careful. Because you want to serve, because you want to help, because you want to support. You know what the directions on the plane say, right? Who gets the masks first? You do, for a very good reason. If you don't have the mask, what happens to you? Oh, you die, right? You die. And can you help somebody else from the grave? No. So put it on first. Put it on first. What does that look like? I want you to tell the person in your table, what does putting on the mask first look like for you in your life right now? Go.
I just said that to myself on the way here. I literally was like, I gotta start putting myself first because I just feel like I give, and then I don't get back. So I don't know what that can look like for me right now. I think like taking a break, like just like sitting with myself, just like trying to get some energy.
I had to figure that out.
Okay.
A really good example. So, my husband and my son, and we're having a dentist appointments. We still work McDonald's right now, so I have no money. But I was like, oh, I still have to just do it. Oh, I think it's gonna be great. It's so fun. He had been 2.5 years, but I felt like I was always at the dentist because it was for everybody else, and I did not get my food. And the I was just like, my goal for myself this year is to like take care of me, do all my doctor support me first, and then my family. And I was like,
I like that.
rock on. I was horrified that I hadn't been there for me.
And it's wild because it's like you've been there somewhere else, but it's just not for you.
And like in my head, I was like, actually, oh yeah.
All right, wrap up the conversation. Come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Who would like to share? What does the mask look like for you? What does the mask look like for you? Who would like to share? Yes.
So we were talking about like taking time for yourself so you don't get burnt out. I do have a family, so it's not that there was the same for a while. People was like, I gotta take time for yourself. My taking time for myself, I do have to adjust my schedule. So my time comes first thing in the morning for myself. So like now I wake up earlier to make that happen, to get my workout in. Because when I do that, I just feel better for the rest of the day. It doesn't mean taking time out of my family's time or my work's time, but I am specific about the time that I take for myself. And that's first thing in the morning.
Yeah. And it works for you? Yeah. Anybody else? Now, my daughter's in the room, so she'll tell you if I'm not saying this. Now, she's a mother herself, and now she understands some of the things that we have gone through as parents. My husband and I, when we first got married, we actually had a very long discussion about children and raising children without even having children yet. And we were planning for 4 kids and, big family, and we only ended up with 2, and then they're the best thing that ever happened to us. And now I have a grandchild, which is amazing, and I had to learn all over again how to be a parent. But the one thing we discussed as part of this long conversation, my husband and I, is how to become teaching parents. This is what we were focused on, because there's, we're immigrants here, refugees here. We're not in our culture where we could easily teach our culture, right? And our language, right? And our faith and all of that stuff. So we needed to do more. We needed to make sure that we raised good people, helping people, faithful people. And so that was the discussion we had. And then we also had a very, long discussion about how to make sure that having children does not affect our relationship, the 2 of us. Because I love you and I love your brother and, your daughter, but who comes first? our relationship, my husband and I, because without it, there are no children. Yes? And family is important, but you have to understand the hierarchy of family. It starts with the people, the two people that decided to have the family. And so our time was protected, and she knows this, she can tell you this. They were raised to do their own chores, to do their, take care of themselves, because first we wanted them to be, good citizens, good people, that they do their own thing, and then, dependable people. And so our time was discussed, how long? 28 years ago. And we still work very hard on it. Of course, there were times when, things happen, emergencies, brain tumors, and, all of it, right? We had to face. But thankfully, because we had this discussion, we knew what was important. We knew that this took precedence, because without it, it's kind of like the oxygen mask. I can't be there for our kids. We can't be there for them when they needed us if we're not there for each other. So that's my oxygen mask. And it helped to know what it is. And this is why I asked you today to talk to somebody about it. And I want you to take the conversation home when you go and have it again. What is your oxygen mask? It could be more than one, just so you know. This QR code will take you to an assessment. And what the assessment does, it helps you identify which one of the 5 pillars are you strong at, and which one of the 5 pillars do you need work with. There's a gap. Now, you have the option of taking the assessment. It's called the Manager Resilience Scorecard. And it's called Manager Resilience Scorecard because I work with managers, I train managers. But it's true for everyone. The 5 pillars, the self-assessment, communications, decision integrity, burnout recovery, and adaptability apply to everybody. So if you'd like to take the assessment, you can do that, and it'll give you the results in your inbox with which is your highest and which one is your lowest. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we're going to go back. We're going to pick up because we're going to have a more discussion about that. Now, back when I was a teacher, I wished I had this quiet that I have today in this room. Yes, you are. Okay, how many of you are almost done? Or done? How many of you are done? All right, woo, awesome, awesome. Now, what I want you to do is turn to the people you've been talking to and tell them, okay, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but what did your assessment result show? Which one are you really, really great at? You got it. And which one are you struggling with? All right, go ahead.
Get my results back.
Oh, okay.
So you go.
So my highest was decision integrity, which is ironic because that was the one I said I needed to work on. And then my lowest was self-awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you think decision integrity was your lowest when it was your highest?
I feel like I struggle sometimes with it's not that I don't know my decision is the right decision, but like how other people will respond to that decision, and then like sitting with that and like being okay if them being okay with it. I think that's where I struggle. Which one did you take at the time? Your
Burnout.
burnout.
That was your highest, or?
My results didn't come out.
Oh, okay.
Is it even higher?
What is your name? Misha? You submit? You hit submit?
I did. I thought. Maybe not.
No, because I'm looking. I don't see your name, Misha.
To redo it then.
Yeah, you have the QR code, so you can do it another time. All right, let's come back in. Let's see how you do with 3, 2, 1. No, we need 5? All right. So, how many of you found that what you initially thought when you did the gut check earlier, when you did, where are you? Oh, dear God, I'm just going to say, when you did the gut check earlier on the Mentimeter, and when you did the actual assessment now, it's not the same. It's not the same. So how many of you found that, you're right, yeah, it is the same. How many of you found something like, what? This, what? When I did the DISC assessment years ago, first initially, and found out that I was a high C and I was an overthinker, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess this is why. What I started doing, I got really into this DISC that actually went and got a certification and became a DISC consultant afterwards because I had all my team take the assessment right after. And I was really curious. I wanted to see what they all were and what I'm working with and, their strengths and everything. And so, after my initial time when I found out, I started working on myself. I started like, okay, I can't be a C. I can't be a high C. Now, the other letter that I was really high on, which was higher than anything else, was an I. Huge, huge, huge surprise to me. Like, what? I'm an I, and if you don't know what an I is, it's somebody who's outgoing, friendly, and I love to talk. I know that I love to talk, but I didn't know that I was outgoing because I thought, I spend my entire life being shy. But I guess the language was a barrier at the time, and so it might have kind of kept me in that shy room for a while. Years go by, I become a DISC consultant, work on myself, I take the assessment again, guess what? C is still there, but it's very low. And my new results went from ICD to ID, which was perfect. That's what I need. I need to be friendly and outgoing and warm, but I also need to be very decisive, and I need to make quick decisions. And so knowing yourself really helps you start working on it. All right, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to be, for just a couple of minutes, a coach. It's the thing, how many of you are coaches or worked with a coach before? Okay, so there's a lot of questions involved, right? One of the things I do is, as a coach, is I work with people and I ask them a lot of questions and I sit and enjoy the answer. So what I want for one of you to be is a coach, and the rest of the table or the rest of the group, you can just be the coachee, the person who answers the question. As a coach, you ask the question and you actually listen. The only thing you're allowed to say is, tell me more. All right? What's the only thing you're allowed to say? All right, here's the question you're going to ask. Now, you have to decide if you're going to be the coach. I'm not going to decide that for you. So this is the fun part. All right, the question is, share one thing you wrote on your worksheet that surprised you. Or if you haven't wrote anything on your worksheet, if you thought about it, I want you to share something that surprised you. As a coach, you can only respond with, tell me more. All right, go.
Hi, nice to meet you. Hey. Okay.
Tell us from this phrase.
Okay. Well, what surprised me today was when I originally took that poll, I put decision integrity.
Just listening. Oh, you're coach? All right. Coach Julia, all right.
In your notes, then, was there anything in your notes that surprised you? Because I didn't write on this.
But some of it she was taking. I care sometimes a little bit too much, I think, about like what's going to be and my choices and thoughts. And so I think that was why I thought it was going to be low. But then when I filled out the assessment, I was surprised. That was weird. I don't know if I have more to say.
All right. No, this is a really great conversation, but I do want you back. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Which one was more fun? Was it more fun to be the coach or the person talking? Person talking, coach. All right, I'm gonna wait until you're done. I mean it when I say I wait. All right. I told you I was a teacher and a principal and I had to do this quite a lot. So I have very good experience doing that. When you said, those of you who were the coaches, when you said, tell me more, I want you to be honest with me. And I don't know if you got to this part about tell me more. But when you were listening for the conversation and you're about to say, tell me more, were you thinking about your own example in life? Of your own struggle or what surprised you? No? I heard yeah over here. That's what I was thinking about. We do that. Even if we're not saying this in this room right now, I ask a question. You tell me the answer. What I start thinking about is something that is related to what Sam's telling me. So I can reciprocate. Because the only good thing in a conversation to be warm and to be friendly is to reciprocate. Right? No, not true. We do this all the time. Listening is one of the hardest things we do. When we listen to actively listen, to actually learn more about the person and not say anything, it's one of the hardest things we do because our brain gets to work. Here's a second question, and I don't want you to do this in a group. What is the one thing on your worksheet or what you have thought about that feels true but also feels hard to commit to? I want you to just think about this one. Don't say it out loud. Maybe when you get to your car, say it out loud. We have a lot of those. We know it's true. We want to do it. We want to commit to it. But it's really, really hard to do. Once in a while, I want you to be a coach. But I don't want you to coach anyone. I want you to coach yourself. I want you to be your own coach. And I want you to ask the question, what would a coach ask me? What questions? How would I answer? And I want you to say, tell me more. For real, do it. And here's the thing. Say it out loud. Have the conversation aloud. It will feel weird. It will feel cringy, but we rarely have a conversation with ourselves. We just do it up here, and you know what happens here? You start the conversation, and then you remember, oh, I forgot to turn off the stove. Oh, did I schedule the kid's appointment? Oh, you know what? That email, I need to actually schedule. I need to reply to it right now. And then you go back. Oh, this is why. Darn, this is why I go back and I make that to-do list, because I don't want to get into this kind of thinking. And then you go back into the same question, and then you go back off the rails again, and then back into it. But when you do it out loud and you actually hear yourself out loud, it changes the entire narrative and the entire story. So I urge you to actually do this. I want you to be your coach. I want you to be the person asking, tell me more, and I want you to do it aloud. I want you to hear what you say to yourself and how you respond. Because I guarantee you, if someone else is actually asking you a question of accountability, you'll be snapping back at them. Be like, what? No, that's not me. That's not what I do. I want you to do the same with yourself. You rarely do that. And then go back and have that conversation. But you know what? I've been through hard times. In training your resilience muscle, we often jump to the negative self-talk. We often jump to the, I can't do it. I can't deal with this. This is too hard for me. I'm not strong enough for this. What I want you to do, you can say this if you want, if this is what you've trained yourself to do. You can say this if you want, but I also want you to say this to yourself. I've gone through hard stuff before. I've done the difficult thing in my life. And I want you to say it out loud. I want you to actually hear yourself saying it. Because when you do that, you know what's going to happen up here? You know what your brain does automatically? It's going to start indexing, looking for scenarios of when you actually had the hard thing in your life and dealt with the difficult person in your life, in your environment. And you're going to start looking for examples. How did you deal with it? You've done it. You can do that. It's just a different environment. It's just a different setting. I can do it. But it's not just a one-time thing. It's not like you do it now and you're good, you're excellent. No, you got to do it over. It's that maintenance part. You have to do it over and over and over. Every time look, people, in 2000 and whatever, I don't know what year it was. Who remembers when power and water were cut off for like a few days? And yeah, what was it? What year? Yeah, thank you. We're like, our neighborhood, our school, everything went on emergency. Like everybody was buying stuff and you know, getting, like emptying the shelves off everything. And my husband and I think we only had Noor at the time. I don't remember. Mustafa was born yet. But we're like hanging out. It's just another Tuesday. I'm like, we had, you know, we've saved enough water. We've had enough food. We've lived without water. We've lived without food. We've done the hard part. We've lived in fear. You know, how many of you love the dentist? And don't ever say you love the dentist in here. I don't care if you're a dentist yourself. I don't like going to the dentist for one reason. They blame me for not taking care of my teeth. I know. I already know, people. You know why? Because I wasn't raised to take care of my teeth. It wasn't priority. You know what the priority was? Surviving, absolutely. Surviving. Even though we survived, I don't condone surviving. Let me tell you why. When you survive, what I want you to take from today is this. You're going to go through rough times. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself you've been through it. You've done the hard thing. You could do it. Go back. Let your brain start working and capture those moments. But I also want you to do this. You survived the hard moments. What did you carry with you from that survival? What experiences, what lessons did you learn from it? Because there's always something, even if it's in the back of your head, grab it, bring it back. Because survival is a bridge. It's not the final destination. You're supposed to grab everything that you're learning as you're surviving those moments, as you're surviving those difficult times, and you're supposed to get off the bridge and start building again and become better. And that's what resilience does. And today, I give you all permission to get off the survival bridge and start building. Thank you so much.
you,
so much.
Gift, for all you gave us today. We appreciate
you.
it very much. And I think it's time for lunch. I don't know, guys.